Did you know that in palmistry, the thumb is comprised of three sections? The first phalanx, the second, and then the Mount of Venus. And the best way to describe what these things mean are I will, I can, and I want. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the first phalanx, the tip of the thumb here, and this represents our willpower. Now, a clearly marked vertical line in this area represents a strong and clear sense of integrity, purposefulness, determination, and drive. Persistence. The owner of such a marking is capable of great stamina, both potentially mental and physical, and is capable of achieving great things in terms of endurance and resistance, of persevering, and a great amount of inner fortitude. Now, several lines on the first phalanx of the thumb is also a positive marking. Vertical lines in palmistry often are. And this again represents the same thing. However, these energies are divided in some way. They are dissipated. They're not as clearly focused. They're not as productive because if you chase two hares, you will catch none. And potentially, this person's determination has been divided, and there's too many irons in the fire. It's not a bad thing at all. It's still a good thing, but their determination is divided. They still have an immense sense of persistence, but this could be more focused and more productive. Horizontal lines in palmistry are often obstacles. They are hurdles, obstructions. They are barring the path of success and progress, growth. And essentially, that's what we see here when we see a horizontal line obstructing the path of a vertical line on the thumb. There is a difficulty here obstructing this person's persistence and determination. There is an obstacle and it's affecting their willpower, so to speak. There's someone or something getting in the way. There's some potentially something bureaucratic. Could be a family member or money issues, could be any number of things, but it's causing disappointment and frustration. And essentially, the more horizontal lines you see on the thumb, it's a greater degree of this frustration because of these difficulties. And I suppose the good news is with this sign is that there is still a significant driving force, a persistent determination there that is just not as clear, it's just not as productive as it could be. The thumb is highly unique in palmistry because it, as I have mentioned, this represents will and this is logic and ideas. But the thumb also represents as a whole our personality, and perhaps all four fingers combined are in the thumb, so to speak. So a cross, or it would be better um, interpreted as an X on the first phalanx of the thumb, represents someone who has um, potentially poorly marked morals. And to be more specific, it shows a lack of loyalty, a lack of integrity. There's um, corruption within their integrity. And that's interesting because I mentioned before that the single clearly marked vertical line represents integrity itself. So you can see that there is this sign almost represents a kind of disruption, the very kind of opposite of that sign altogether, because it's two lines barring the possibility for progress. It's two diagonal lines barring the possibility for that determination, that clarity of persistence and upright integrity. Such a marking may well represent unfaithfulness in relationships as well. So all we're really left with in order to create the star formation on the tip of the thumb is another horizontal line. And as I've mentioned, difficulty, frustration. And so someone who lacks morality, who is corrupted in terms of their ability to be upright, upstanding, and there's a difficulty and frustration here, an extra difficulty and extra frustration in the creation, in the possibility of that, then we have someone who is immoral, someone who shockingly goes against accepted social values. Such a person may even be drawn to acts which are shocking just for the sake of it. They might well conduct themselves in ways that harm others with a complete disregard and throw themselves, mind and body, into acts that purposefully go against the codes of morality, law, socially accepted norms, and religion. Now, a triangle on the first phalanx of the thumb is a very rare marking. And you may have heard me say this in some of my other videos if you've watched any of the others. Triangles often represent fortune and prosperity through hard work and mostly study. And this represents a highly scientific mind, a sound mind, a mind of determination in the sense of the ability to research and study and understand. And a person with this sign generally is a great achiever, an achiever of scientific study and revelation and research. They have a large capacity to apply their specific determination in an academic area. So this kind of determination, this resilience, this persistence is highly mental rather than physical. And with this, they are able to create a name for themselves and likely a fortune. There we go. I found the word I was thinking of. It's a marking of highly unusually powerful concentration. They can concentrate, unlike most. Stay up for hours on end to crack that code. That's the kind of person I'm thinking of here. Um, not necessarily a genius, but certainly someone who's highly intelligent and has that kind of mental resilience and endurance that very, very few have. A very rare and fortunate sign indeed. Squares in palmistry are interesting because they're generally very positive. They close things off, they box things in, they protect, they safeguard. And this is quite a specific scenario to find a square on the first phalanx of the thumb, and I have seen it a few times. It's unusual. It again shows a very single-minded approach to working towards a goal, in determination, in achieving their aspirations, but it's a single-minded um, mentality, and it closes person's kind of perspective. So it's an overall kind of blinkered approach to their personality and in the way in which they go about their work. They can become closed off to the views and even considerations of others and become um, a bit of a despot, a bit of um, a bit sort of brutal and blunt in their sort of brutish kind of inconsiderate way of ensuring that they get what they need to done. They become so closed off to the feelings of others. They don't know that they're like this though. It's not purposeful. We can be self-centered without being selfish necessarily. Sometimes we close ourselves off, or we become closed off to the thoughts and feelings of others, and it just isn't possible in some respects for us to understand and receive the kind of necessary messages of how we're affecting the lives of others and the way we kind of go about things. And that's what this represents here. This person is absorbed, so self-centered and absorbed in single-mindedly concentrating on their task. Their defect is they don't have an awareness of how they are affecting the lives of those around them. Circles in palmistry are tremendously rare, and in fact, I've only ever seen one true circle in palmistry. And on the tip of the thumb is a highly remarkable, unusual, and brilliant sign. It's a sign of triumph. It's a sign of um, incredible success. And this again is through a, an ability, a steadfast and um, single-minded and focused, a tremendous determination and persistence and drive, but in a way that is positively influential and um, and just the most sort of productive way possible in order to achieve their aspirations. It's a tremendous mark of achievement. It's because it's so rare, it's hard to really provide an example, a real life example, certainly, of who might have this marking, perhaps an astronaut or an explorer, or someone in a field who has gone through great lengths to achieve something that takes perhaps both mind and body. It's likely that a person with this marking has a very specific field that they work in, and it wouldn't be difficult to come to a conclusion as to what this means once you kind of figure out what it is that they do and what their interests are. Now, the grill sign is a really interesting one because, as I mentioned earlier, you've got here this determination. These are separate faculties of a person's determination and drive and need to achieve, and these are separate difficulties and frustrations. However, with the grill marking here, these are all connected, and what this shows us is a clashing. It shows us a circumstance, a quite specific one as well, which is why it's really interesting because it's said to be a very bad augury in terms of the potential for a person's partner to impact on this person's life in a very negative way, in a very specific way, because it indicates that this person is in danger of death caused by their partner in matters of immorality and unfaithfulness. So again, pretty rare to see grilling like this, and logically, my logical mind says, well, potentially that could mean that a person, their partner's unfaithful and uh, causes them to contract HIV. I'm trying to think very sort of logically, and it's all very morbid, but that's what this sign is said to be. Now, if you have any of these signs in your thumb, I just want to reassure you that you might necessarily be reading into it incorrectly. Don't, um, please don't do that. I was going to say it's similar to sort of self-diagnosing in medical terms. If you've got a symptom, don't look it up because the likelihood is you will misdiagnose, and the same thing can be said in palmistry. Please do shoot me an email if you have any concerns. But otherwise, I do hope you have learned from this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please do check out my other videos on other rare markings in the palms, on and around the palms. And if you are interested in a palm reading yourself, please do visit my website, piscespalmist.com. Or, as I say, shoot me an email. Please do like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.